and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and I decided to make like a tiny cabin treehouse situation. I don't know what made me think of doing this, but all of a sudden I thought about it and I thought it was super cute. And so I actually built most of it over on my Twitch channel for a stream, but I did finish like the landscaping, like the exterior on my own. So if you were there for that stream, I appreciate your company. It was so much fun doing this, and this is what the rest of it looked like. So I know that like the game is not going to say that this is a tiny home because it has like the tiles on the ceiling, and then I feel like a kind of necessary like porch around it because I feel like it would look funny without it. So it's technically not going to count as a tiny home, but the actual building itself is small. So there's only one bedroom, one bathroom, a tiny little kitchen, a tiny little dining room, and a small living space, but it ends up being so cozy and cute. I love it so much. And we end up putting like a pond outside and all that kind of good stuff. And it's actually built on that lot, like at the very top of Henford on Bagley. So that like, I think it's literally called like a secret cottage lot or something. And so literally that's where you could go if you have a sim that kind of just wants to get away from it all. I feel like it would be a cool rental home too, actually. So it's uploaded on the Sims 4 gallery under my ID, Spice and Sprinkles, all one word, all lowercase, and down in the description if you want to see it written out. So if you'd like to download it and use it, of course, feel free to change it to a retail lot if you wanted to. That could kind of actually be a fun idea to like have your Sims go and visit. There is a lot of space for gardening. There's some fishing and all that kind of good stuff, like a grill. So plenty to do. There's an easel actually on the roof. That sounds really ridiculous, but like there's like a balcony kind of thing on the roof so your Sims can actually go up there. There's a fire pit, just like a bunch of stuff to do. A lot of places just to like relax and hang out and maybe just like, you know, unwind from like, you know, the rest of the world. And I will say, so this was kind of interesting. So usually your Sims can cook on one of those Dream Home Decorator stovetops. And for some reason, the Sim refused to do that. So when I was playtesting it, like I tried everything. I tried to see like if taking different things out, like if there was something blocking it. I tried both different stovetops, and the Sim didn't want to cook. So I don't know what it was. I don't know if there's something about this build, or hopefully this isn't the case. Hopefully they didn't like patch that out and your Sim like all of a sudden can't use that as a counter space. But for some reason my Sim just wouldn't. So I end up actually adding in one additional counter kind of as like a tiny island. So your Sim can cook. So you shouldn't have any issues, but what you're going to download on the gallery and what you see in screenshots is going to have actually like this extra random counter. Your Sim can still get around and all that kind of good stuff, but I thought I'd warn you that it's going to look a little bit different, but I don't know why. Like, I don't know why that was such an issue. Like, I've recently built a lot of stuff with the ability that your Sim can actually cook on it, and I've play tested it that way. So I guess I'm glad I checked. I don't know what it was. Like, I took stuff off the wall. I took the hood away. I took like that column that was right next to it. I took a bunch of stuff out. I tried both different stovetops, but the Sim didn't like it. So anyways, I added that in there so you shouldn't have any problems cooking or anything like that. And we actually had a really fun time actually in the living room here. We went back and forth a lot about what kind of rug we wanted to put in there, like what would really help like define this space. And it ends up being like super cozy. We ended up using that get together rug, and I really like that swatch. I think it helps bring in a little bit of the green from the kitchen while adding in some additional colors here. And we use that cozy couch that we got from the Book Nook kit. And I actually like, I feel like when I did the review, I wasn't super like excited about the texture, but it looks kind of cozy and it looked cute here, so we did end up using it. And I did like the addition of that like peach colored pillow, because I actually end up bringing that in and using that on another chair in the living room and on the chairs in the dining space. And I felt like it kind of helped create a nice cohesive atmosphere here. And I know that's a lot to say just based off of a pillow, but I think it really did help. I think it added a little extra color in here, so you just didn't have a bunch of that green and brown. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like I recently used that kitchen tile, like the floor and the wall tile. I feel like I've used that combination recently, so apologies if I had, but I really liked it. So I kept it. I said that on stream too. I was like, I feel like I've used this recently, but I'm doing it anyways because I like it, and I felt like it made sense here. So we're just adding in some extra clutter. I tried to add in here a little bookshelf thing so your Sim has something to do as well. Of course, a TV, so lots to do. Of course, you can take that out if you want that, like, you know, really secluded kind of feeling. You could take out the TV, that kind of thing. You could also add in some like off the grid items and make it an off the grid lot if you would like to. I thought about doing it, but then honestly I just didn't feel like it. But you're more than welcome to if you would like to use this home that way. And it was actually so funny. I was like having a hard time choosing what overhead light I wanted to use. And I was like, all of these seem so big. And chat was like, well, this is a tiny build. So it could just be like, it could just be that your build is tiny. And I was like, well, you know, you're not wrong. Like that could be the reason. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I just felt like all of the lights were really big. And like I said, we added in here those really pretty peach chairs, which the chairs in the dining room and the living room, those are from the cats and dogs pack. And so were the curtains. Actually, I feel like I used several of the items from that pack in here. And I just thought it worked out really well and was just super adorable. And for this space, I ended up using a tub and a shower like separately, and your sim can get to the shower. I play tested it and the toilet, so you shouldn't have any issues like with your sim getting around. But I don't know, I just really like the idea of having like that kind of like clawfoot tub like on its own. It just, I don't know, it just felt really nice for this space. And like I can't explain it, it just, I don't know, it made sense if you know what I mean. So we left that in here, and then just adding in some clutter. And it's actually really funny. So the the window that's in here is higher than the window that is in the kitchen, and I noticed when I was like outside the build, it really bugged me. So I do end up going back and lowering that window in the bathroom, so it is closer to the bathtub, and I think makes a lot more sense like for this home. And so I'm going to end up doing that later once I actually get to the exterior. I was like, oh no, I can't have that. That just like bugs me. I don't know. Like, let me know. Does that bug you if you're like, your windows are at different heights? It just, I don't know. It was something I was like, I need to change it. And for the bedroom here, it is like a tight squeeze in here. However, your sim can get to the bed on both sides. You shouldn't have any issues. Like I tested it just to make sure, because like, you know, just like the stove, sometimes the Sims just, I don't know, decide they don't want to do something. And because our nightstands are so big, and it is a little annoying when you size them down in terms of trying to like clutter them, I actually ended up using these stools. I think they came with Jungle Adventure. I honestly really like using those as like small end tables, and I think size wise it made a lot more sense here. And I ended up using this like Seasons picture on the wall because it just felt like, you know, very naturey and like it kind of belonged here. And in terms of a dresser, I was thinking about not using a dresser just because this room is so small, and most of the dressers, just like our nightstands, are huge. But luckily we had this one from Get Together that I ended up putting in here, and it was a nice like smaller footprint, so it worked really well in this space. And then just adding a few other clutter items in here just to make it a little more lived in. And of course you can change some of that stuff out too, like if you want it to be a little more sparse, because you know, if you're using it as a rental, maybe there's not as much stuff in here, you know, they wouldn't like necessarily provide a bunch of decor. But like I said, we ended up putting a pond out here, which I thought was super cute, and I ended up putting like some logs. I put some like mallard like ducks in it and all that kind of good stuff, and it just ends up being like really cozy. And it's just really funny to me though that like this lot is literally like on the top of this mountain in the middle of nowhere, and yet for some reason there's always so many Sims. Like it was actually kind of funny. I used this lot for my Big Sister challenge at the beginning, and like part of the idea is that they like, I kind of did like the hard mode version of the challenge where like your Sims aren't allowed to talk to adults since, you know, they're younger and they shouldn't be on their own, so like you don't want anybody finding out they're on their own. But anyways, I just thought it was funny that like I put them up here, I'm like, they're gonna be secluded. There was always so many Sims around, and I say that because when I went to go take screenshots, all of a sudden there were so many Sims up here, and I was like, you're in my way. I can't take a screenshot because you're standing in front of my build. And I was like, why are you here? Like, this is the middle of nowhere. That's like the whole point. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny that they still show up. Like, Nancy Landgrab will be at the top of the mountain coming to say hello to you. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so weird to me. But anyways, just adding in a bunch of stuff out here. I even included some of those like mushrooms that you can get out of Debug for the Cottage Living pack. And I tried to use vegetation that came from that pack so it kind of blends into this world. But I did throw in some other stuff here. But I really just wanted to keep it like a bunch of greenery more so than like flowers. I wanted to have the idea that it was a little more natural and was kind of already there, and then placing that home on, you know, in the trees, if that makes sense. And I will say, so when you're playing on this lot, when you zoom in far enough, like the trees disappear, so they shouldn't be in your way. I didn't really have any issues while I was building it, and it's technically considered the like second floor, so this is considered like the first floor. So just FYI, if you're like moving around, that's kind of like how that would end up working. And I'm hoping that technically, since this is like below the home, I'm hoping that this actually acts as like a roof for these plants. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that like if you have some sort of roof over like your plants, you can grow stuff that's not in season. So I'm hoping maybe that will protect the plants that you have in these planters, and that you can like grow stuff maybe out of season. So again, if you wanted to be like living off the grid kind of thing, this could be a nice place to put it. But I ended up adding in here like the flower arranging table, so maybe that's how your sim makes money out here. Like they plant a bunch of flowers, and just some of the gardening pieces we got from the greenhouse haven kit that we got not that long ago, so adding that in here. And then I also include here, I end up like using terrain paint to make like a stone area, and putting in like a picnic table and a grill, so your sims can like hang out here as well if they want to have people over. And again, like a grill being a good way to actually make food, like for your sims to live off of if you're doing like an off the grid kind of thing. And then I thought it was so cute to add like a little bike out here, like maybe that's what they use to like get around, is like with that really cute bike. I think technically that was like a early access item from Cottage Living, I believe. So, and I wish, part of me wishes they didn't do that, because then it's like I might have items that like aren't even possible to get anymore, so that's a little bit frustrating. So like if you don't have the item, it just won't be there even if you do have Cottage Living, which again, it kind of bugs me that that's a thing. But there are other bikes in the game if you would like to like add that in as a nice little touch as to how your sim would get around. And then just adding a few pathways here, and it's actually kind of funny because I didn't even think about it, but your sim like goes up the ladder on the other side, but I have the stones kind of end right there. But I mean, it doesn't really make that big of a difference, but I just thought it was kind of funny when I had the sim on the lot. I was like, oops, I didn't really think about the fact that the sim actually goes up the other side where there's not a stone, like a paving stone for them to walk on. Obviously that's not necessary, but I just thought that was kind of funny. And then just adding in a few finishing touches here, like on the lawn. And then we add in the fire pit up here and the easel and like another small little seating area and like just some different plants. And we have like a guitar up here again. I just wanted that really nice like scenic experience out here. So again, if your sim wanted to use this as a like a vacation spot or a rental, like this would be actually kind of cute to use. And so just adding in a few chairs, and I use the matching couch actually down below on the side of the build, so your sim can go and sit there, and your sim can get around the tree, so you don't have to worry about that either. So they can go and hang out here and have a good time and look out on the pond. I feel like it'd be just like a gorgeous view, like in real life. Like I would honestly, it'd be really fun to go live there. But if I was going to a cabin, it most certainly wouldn't be off the grid. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really a camper. I'm not like, that's just not my thing. But anyways, this cabin I think I could do. I think I could do this. Although like actually having to climb into the trees to get there would be kind of interesting. But we are getting near the end of this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye everybody.
Did you pack the flashlight, the blanket, and the mat? It's a real adventure, the trail you're looking at. I'm glad you came. For a while I thought you might be bailing. Is that the same yellow shirt you used to wear? But 1,000 years seem like almost no time now. This guitar right here, do you still remember how I played for you? I was crappy, but you sang along, and